why Sporting Director Hughes changed his mind and removed Slot. And what comes through here, and speaking to you this morning as well, pre-show, is just the flux that's gone on in the past few days and the rapidness this has come about.
Yeah, look, it came as an absolute surprise yesterday. Everything that I'd heard through the week was there was no change. He was, I was on the show last week, had done a story. He was approached Etienne Reinen, who he'd worked with at Feyenoord. He was going to come in and be his assistant this season. Arne had spoken to us about it last Friday. Now, there was absolutely, if the club were happy for that to happen, and Etienne Reinen had actually handed his notice in at Feyenoord, he'd had a party to say that he'd had a leaving party. He could have stayed with Robin van Persie this year. Really, really well regarded coach in Holland. He's left to come over and join Arne Slot. As late as Wednesday or Thursday, that was all going on. So something has happened between, I would say, Friday morning and Saturday morning, where the decision is made. I don't know what that is. I wouldn't be disingenuous and sort of try and tell people that I know something that I don't. I don't at the moment. Richard Hughes isn't the sporting director, isn't necessarily a regular at Anfield, but he was at Anfield for the Brentford game and for the Chelsea game, and the mood in the stadium was rotten, really flat. Not like sort of muteness and screaming and anything like that, but Anfield has got this sense when things are wrong, it's flat and it's antsy and it's irritable, and you could feel it. And against Chelsea in particular, Rio Nguma was booed. The decision to take Rio Nguma off was booed, which was really significant. Liverpool were booed off at half-time and full-time. They probably would have got booed off at the end last Sunday had it not been for Mo Salah's final game. And they were singing, "Don't worry, everything's going to be all right." I don't think it will be at the moment. But
it's interesting because you said the mood had got mutinous among the Liverpool fans and alluded to it there. But you also stress in the piece here that Arne Slot was very much committed to front foot and intense football. So that perception that he was trying to pacify the side wasn't exactly correct.
Yeah. So I'd spoken to his mentor 12 months ago when they won the league, and he was saying the style that Liverpool had played last year. He said, watch him next year, he'll take it on again. He wants to play from the halfway line, aggressive, pressing. He wants quick defenders, so Liverpool can always be on the front foot.
You mentioned Mickey van der Ven in the piece.
Yeah, well, there's a suggestion. Liverpool said that's not the case, that Arne was talking about it. I've had it from another side that says it is, so draw your own conclusions on what's what. But that style of play was just never seen this season.
It was really strange.
Yeah. Now look, I can absolutely see why the decision is made, and as Jamie's just said before the break, the numbers were wrong. 19-20 defeats this season. The drop in the points tally by 20 points. It hasn't been good enough. He'd lost the supporters, and I didn't see a way that he could get them back. But then the messaging all the way through was, we think he can go again next season.
Yeah.
So something's happened.
Pick up on it. Just come to you, Jack, but with a piece from Paul Joyce in the Sunday Times football supplement here. Why Slot's 2-year reign came to a shuddering halt. And actually a piece there saying that Richard Hughes, the sporting director, as Dom says, witnessed himself when present for the 1-1 draw with Chelsea. Slot is said to have torn a strip off his players at half-time, tirade so forceful it was heard in the corridors outside the dressing room. Hughes is not a regular at Anfield matches, as Dom pointed out again as well, but he saw a club divided. It's been a rapid division, hasn't it?
But that's the most staggering thing that Dom's mentioned it and Paul in his piece. Why is the sporting director not a regular at Anfield? That seems bizarre, because a lot of this Slot's had his own problems. There's been a lot of issues this season, but you could pin some of it on the structure in terms of they spent an absolute fortune last summer, still didn't get them whether it was Van der Ven they wanted or Mark Gay, who they clearly wanted, agreed a fee. They dragged their heels over that, and that's been so costly.
Yeah, the Mark Gay one, I'll never be able to understand what went on there. I wouldn't necessarily have a problem about him not being a regular if he's going on other assignments and looking at different things. If his job is to oversee recruitment and things like that, then I wouldn't be too concerned about him not being, like, you know, for the run-of-the-mill games at Anfield. I wouldn't have an issue with that. But what I would say is if he's putting all his eggs in Xabi Iraola's basket, he's putting his reputation on it, because Liverpool are a team that have to win. They have to win. They won't get away with 2 months of not winning a game at Anfield. You saw what happened to Arne Slot. The crowd will, they won't buy it. As I think I said to you off air, my criteria for a Liverpool manager would be this: if you go a goal down in the Bernabeu or the Nou Camp or the Allianz or the Parc des Princes in the 60th minute of the second leg of a Champions League quarter-final, what's your coach going to do to turn it around? That's when you want to look to the thing and you go, well, he can do this, and this.
But you don't know yet with Iraola, but that...
No, you don't know that yet. You don't know that yet. But how's he going to cope with the rhythm of dealing with the players? Big egos.
Yeah, well, on your point there, and come to you, Carl, with the fan power as well, because Sam Wallace, writing in The Telegraph, says ruthless acting shows that fan power is still decisive. Put away the deck of slides, feel the vibes. Fenway Sports Group has made a virtue of identifying the value in the transfer market, of spotting trends before others and making some of the best signings of the past decade. But not even it can sustain a manager who has lost his Anfield public. Carl, how important to be sensitive to the mood of the fans, but how dangerous potentially to use that as a decision maker?
And first of all, wonderful paragraph, Sam Wallace.
Yeah, it was a quote from Sam, by the way.
Great on the keyboard there. I think it's a justifiable decision. Like, Arne Slot lost buy-in from the players and from the Liverpool fan base. Liverpool seem to be going through the motions largely since the PSG game last season. Well, last season's just finished, but the season before that, if you get what I mean, they look physically several shades removed from what they were in their title-winning campaign. They don't look... I'm hearing that apparently Arne Slot changed the training approach, so now it's more about tactical periodization rather than the intensity you're doing. I think Mo Salah's last post, where he said he believed Liverpool need to be playing heavy metal football, to me, was like right.
17 players liked it.
Yeah, well, that to me, it makes way more sense why Iraola seems to be number one. Because if you want heavy metal football, the coach out there best equipped to give you that is Iraola, to my opinion.
But Dom questions whether you can do that, or actually Jamie Carragher questioned that, didn't he, before, whether you can do that three times a week, every 3 days.
It's possible. You need to have a very good preseason, and you need to have a very, very good summer recruitment. So Dom, you'll be able to tell me a little bit more, but to me, outside looking in, Liverpool need a right back, a centre back, 2 central midfielders, probably a centre forward cover as well.
They need wingers. They need number 6, but without a shadow of a doubt. If again, that was glaringly obvious. It was something Arne admitted himself. It was too easy to get onto Liverpool's defence. All the way through. It was like 2 passes and all of a sudden...
Completely porous in central midfield.
Yeah. Well, I just want to bring in a piece from Martin Samuel in the Times to you, Jack, as well. On the defence, perhaps, of Arne Slot. It's a very balanced view from Samuel, but actually this paragraph in particular is supportive of Slot in the sense of the context. He may have thought he merited a second season in which a popular member of the team did not die in tragic and devastating circumstances at the age of 28. His 3 big summer signings got to play more than 119 minutes together, and a club legend did not spend the campaign acting up, underperforming, and using his manager as a mark. That's referencing what Carl was talking about. That is that fair? That there's a lot been happening at Liverpool that maybe led to them finishing 5th.
He's had, first of all, taking Diogo Jota, he's had unimaginable circumstances to deal with that. And Don will know more about this than me and Carl, but would have had a significant impact on the dressing room. I think we've spoken about it before. Martin mentions it in his piece. You've got a big summer spend, a lot of new faces arriving that would normally go in a laugh and a joke, maybe a night out, to get embedded into that dressing room and part of that group. And they're finding a group in mourning that don't know how to deal with it every day, that are going in and seeing an empty peg or whatever in the dressing room every day. I think it's impossible to quantify the impact that has. And Arne Slot was superb in dealing with that at the start of the season. I think Don mentions in his piece the way he spoke in pre-season at Preston, was it? I think.
Yeah, he did an interview with the club TV channel beforehand. And listen, I don't care what people think about him for the results. He had a situation that nobody could. There's no preparation for what happened last July, and how he managed the club through that situation, with the dignity, with the care, with the sensitivity of handling it all, while reminding people what was important. That to me says more anything about him as about a football coach. You can think about one as you want as a football coach, but as a man, the dealings that I've had with him, people who know him far better than I, he's a good man. And some of the vitriol that's come to him this season has been eye-opening. People are fully entitled to want managerial change over results. I get that. I would not say anything about that. Anybody's wish for change, but for personal abuse and some of the things that have happened this season, I find it unedifying.
The way he managed that also crosses over into football a bit, because you look at the way he managed following Jurgen Klopp in.
Yeah.
Not only winning a title, but just coming in and not trying to be Jurgen Klopp.
Klopp finished third the season before as well.
Exactly, not trying to, sort of play to the Klopp and win them over by trying to be Jurgen Klopp, being his own man, and not just winning it with Klopp's team. That's the thing that's thrown at him constantly. He made significant changes that season.
Gravenberch at 6 was a big one, wasn't it? Talked about,
Yeah, and he was very respectful as well when he came in. He was the first game that Liverpool played at Anfield under him was against Brentford, and he almost didn't want to go onto the pitch at the end of it because he felt like, I'll get me, I'll find my feet and whatever. There was no sort of giving it all that. And the more that Liverpool won, the more confidence that he got, the more you can see how proud he was to do it. But I'd just like to make a point on the players as well, if I can.
Yeah.
As Darmash alluded to with Jamie, it might have changed since we've been on air, but by the time we did come here, nobody had said anything about him, which is their prerogative and whatever. But I would just hope that if Liverpool are signing players this summer, they've got the attitude that when they get into the building, they realise how far they've got to step it up again. Liverpool isn't a place where you come in and go, made it, I'm doing all right here.
The departure of Salah and Robertson going to have another effect on the dressing room? Because Virgil van Dijk now is the elder statesman.
And Alisson.
Are they going to have the? I mean, Alisson is possibly going to.
I think Alisson will have to stay now. They cannot let that happen.
Can we pick up, Dom? Just and I'll come to you, Carl, on this on the replacement, widely thought to be Andoni Iraola. Jonathan Northcroft writing here links the connection with Bournemouth and Richard Hughes as well. Bus coach is one of the brightest I've ever met. He favours chaos over order, Klopp over Pep, and dreams of owning a bookshop. It's interesting, isn't it, how chaos and order in a bookshop? But there was a reference here to when Gary O'Neill was let go by Bournemouth. Calmly, Hughes, then Bournemouth sporting director, sat down O'Neill and explained he's done a great job, but Iraola was available and he can take us to another level. Is this effectively potentially hinging on the fact that Iraola has the next level that he can go to as well?
Yeah, with very much so. I believe he's a fantastic coach, and I believe in terms of the current status of the Premier League, which is man-to-man, marking schemes, set-piece organisation, I think Iraola is particularly well-suited to take to that next level. I think he'll scale up. There have been Bournemouth games where Bournemouth are dominating possession and they look very, very good. Injuries will be interesting because very often you sort of see the Bournemouth player suite and there's 4 or 5 gentlemen there with the moon boot and soft tissue injuries. So the medical team at Liverpool needs to be on job. The recruitment team needs to be on job. But I think as a coach and the staff Iraola will bring in with him, if I'm a Manchester United persuasion, I'm now looking at Liverpool going, oh, they're going to be a problem next season.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting because I've looked at the last week.
I am more afraid of.
But I've looked at it from the last point of view, and I wonder whether this is influenced. Look, the FSG will have had the ultimate say on it. Don't kid yourself that they haven't. I wonder whether they have looked at the last week and gone, Arsenal strong, really going to, they're going to strengthen again. Man City will speak for themselves for the depth that they've got, regardless of who is going to be the manager. Chelsea with a free runner with Xabi Alonso.
Explain more. Sort of why do the sacking now when Xabi Alonso was available earlier?
They were never going to go for Xabi Alonso.
Tell me more about it.
Well,
they just didn't fancy him.
It's clearly something's gone back from when he always made it clear that when he was at Leverkusen, he was never going to go at the end of that first season when Klopp was there. He always wanted to stay for a second year in Germany to see the project through. And then the land had changed. Then Slot had come in and done what he'd done. If Alonso and Iraola share an agent, so they clearly know what is happening in the landscape. And Xabi must have known that Liverpool were never going to go for him. Otherwise, that's what he's gone.